What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. I am again Big Nate, joined by Coach Taylor. Coach Taylor, what's happening with you?
Hey man, no complaints, no complaints. All is good.
You ain't had to slap nobody recently like Will Smith, man.
Nah, I'm not that aggressive. I try to just play
Okay.
it cool.
So just making sure, I didn't think Will was that aggressive, but he showed us different. So got another good episode coming for y'all today. We're gonna kick it off with the NCAA tournament again. Final Four is set. We have all blue blood programs except Villanova, correct?
I don't know. Okay.
Do you consider Villanova blue blood?
Hell yeah. Jay Rice won 2 titles in the last 4 or 5 years?
That's within the last 10 years, but prior to that,
when the last time Colorado won one?
They don't. Well,
I get you. They don't get the national respect. I get it. Yeah. I get it. They don't get the national respect. I get it.
So you got Duke, Carolina, Villanova, Kansas. Obviously, to get there, we had some good games prior. Some upsets. But let's preview this. We'll start with Kansas Villanova. How do you see that folded out? How do you see that going?
You know what sucks about that is I'm a huge Jay Wright fan, as I told you, huge Nova fan. And because they lost to Justin, and I don't say I hate Kansas, I just don't think Bill Self is all that they hype him up to be. You know what I mean? In terms of his X's and O's. He can recruit, but in terms of his X's and O's.
This is his how many Final Fours since he's been at Kansas? I can't remember. Like he's been to quite a few.
He's up there, but let me tell you something. He's also starting to go into that territory like Izzo. Izzo can get you there, but he can't get the shit done. And I would say Bill Self is very similar. But unfortunately for Bill Self, they caught a major break with the injury to Justin Moore and torn Achilles on the kid from Villanova that averages 15 a game. I had, if he's not hurt, I'm taking Villanova. Because they got their full team, and I believe Jay Wright's X's and O's is superior to anybody in the country. But unfortunately, missing a dude of that caliber that would have to, probably tangle with Abachi, tangle with Christian Braun, give you some offensive output. I just don't know what they got in their reserve, to replace that. But I hope Villanova wins. But I'm gonna unfortunately have to go out and say I think Kansas will get it done. But I really would love to see Villanova still be able to find a way to get it done.
Would you say there was a better transfer pickup than Brittney Martin in the country?
Yeah, I would.
Who?
What's the boy at North Carolina? Brady. Manic. Yeah, I would say he's the when you're a coach, right? And you go into the portal, especially at the P5 level, and you're looking for a dude that's going to help you, carry on the torch, carry on your culture, but establish a new level in it. I would say Brady has been the poster boy for that. 100%. I would say.
I guess she played too in Kentucky, but I guess I was speaking just as far as the match and then the objective that he had by coming to Kansas. It's come to fruition. Like, I'm saying, he went to Kansas because he was looking to get to a national championship, and now he's within a game of getting there. Like, I think he kind of solidified them a little more prior than if they didn't have him.
I don't know about that, man. Abaji's still going to be an All-American, whether Remy's there or not.
Right. Well,
he's
like I said,
pretty damn good.
Keegan was
that Carolina team a year ago, man, was in shambles. You know what I mean? Like they were in shambles. I mean, that's why Roy was like, you know what? I love the university so much. I'm willing to put my pride aside. I need to step away because I'm not able to get the most out of these young guys anymore. My voice just isn't resonating in the building.
He looks good for that now, right? By stepping out and then they
100%. He did it when it was the right thing to do for the kids. The university, put your pride aside. Like I wish a lot of these older blue blood coaches would look in the mirror and do the same thing. If you love the university, right? They got a job for it. They got you on payroll some kind of way. The money don't stop. If you love the university, then do what's best for the kids in the university. Put your, tenured pride and past to the back burner. Do what's right by the university and the kids.
With that Duke Carolina game, Caleb Love, man, like he's been a guy that I've had my eye on since last year. And I didn't think last year he quite played to the level that probably he expected himself to play at. This year he's been off and on, but in the tournament he's been nice. I like watching him play. I think he showed out that last Duke game when they played Duke too. But Kai has been real consistent. Like I said, Manic, I like him. Like I said, I told you prior after they beat Duke, I was like, you know what? That's a team to watch. And I think, man, like, you know, I'm not a Duke fan. I like some of the Duke players.
Who you got? Tell me. Give me your pick. I want to know. Who do you have between Duke and Carolina? Who you got? Not who you want. Man. Who do you got?
Who do I got? Yeah. I'm gonna roll with Duke. To me, I told you.
He's just solidified himself as number one pick.
I told you prior to the year that was the best player in college basketball. I said I didn't see nobody that would be better than him when it mattered. You know what I'm saying? And now when it matters, like people kind of had fell off of him a little bit as far as the draft process. Didn't think he was, kind of thought he tuned it out. But when it's mattered, he's shown that there's not a whole lot you can do with him. And due to that, and I mean, Duke's got probably 4 first-round picks on that team. You know, they probably got 4 first-round picks. You've got Paolo, Griffin.
Yeah.
The big man,
Mark Williams.
No,
Mark Williams, yeah.
And then you got Wendell Moore.
You like Wendell Moore?
Yeah. I think they got 4 potential first-round guys. Probably, maybe 5 if you include because I've seen the other cat in there in the first round too at times this year. Is it Keels? I've seen him as a first round guy. So when you got that many guys, and Carolina got good players, but I think they might have one. You know, Caleb Love might go in the first round. I haven't really seen Bakat on too many first round boards, but he's, you know, an NBA guy. I would like to see Carolina win, obviously, but I think Duke has that ass when they took Coach K's last game at Cameron, and I think they come out, and I think it might get ugly. I think it could be one of them games where they come out, make a statement, and it might get ugly. But I hope Carolina wins.
I'm taking Carolina. I'm taking the black coach in Hubert Davis. I think he's gotten the most out of those kids, like we just talked about last year. Caleb Love wasn't very good. Roy just could not reach him. You know, and it's no fault to Roy. It just happens when there's a generational gap. It happens. So he just could not reach him. I've seen those kids cry in locker rooms after games. You know, like I said, you watch that game, that last home game. You know, I watch, you know, Baycott not be able to leave Hubert Davis's arms for 5 minutes, just crying straight and thanking him for helping him be a better man, stay in shape. And it's good. Like Duke has Banchero, no doubt about it. But it's just something about that team that I just don't. You know what I mean? It's like you're doing it for Coach K, and that's admirable. You know, like that is admirable. But it's like whether this was last year or not, why would you not play as hard? You know what I mean? Like even if it wasn't his last year, you should still be trying to play to the same type of caliber. And so for that, I'm gonna ride with Hubert Davis, man. I mean, he's a Carolina guy. I watched Roy win the title of Carolina when he went back. And I actually think this is probably his best chance to do it. Like, I don't know when he'll get a team back to the Final Four again because some kind of way John Shire is just swooping up recruits left and right. And so I think when you talk about older teams, Bacot, Manic, you know what I mean? I like they're like older teams usually win you titles. Teams that got guys going to the NBA at some point, that becomes their ulterior motive and agenda at some point. Like they take a bad shot here and there, they check out here and there. They give up a loose rebound. They don't dive on the floor for a loose ball. There's something in the game you watch between the guys who know they get ready to go to the league. There's something in that game where there's a player too. They turn it off. You know, they just kind of like, you know, whatever.
Do you think that with the resurgence that Carolina has had within this tournament, that it wakes, you know, prospects back up as far as coming to Carolina? I think it's going to do wonders for them. Where I think. Because you would say like they were 8 seed. Is that what they were this year? 8 seed Carolina. So when you look at, they're gonna have, I think here in the future, gonna have more talented teams for Hubert Davis. Where I think, you know, where like I said, Caleb Love has been here and there, but him and Bekata, they're best players. They're going to have teams coming up within the next couple of years where they're going to have, lottery picks. You know what I'm saying? Where I think they're going to have more talent. And like maybe it's to your point, like you said, there'll be young guys and maybe they don't accomplish as much, but I think he'll have more talented teams where he'll have those guys that are at those programs always get more than one shot. You know
I think Hubert is going to embrace the times. I don't he's going to go after, your 4 and 5 stars, but I think he's going to be right back at the portal, man. I think he saw the blueprints of success. And like you need some young raw talent like you do in Banchero, but you need them older dudes like Baycott and Manic that been through the wars too. You know what I mean? You need those dudes because, like I said, high level games, man, you need dudes that have played 50, 60, 70 games, right? And been in a tournament, 8, 9, 10 tournament games, so they know how to close the shit out. And I think he's gonna do what he just did, man. I think he's gonna, get his share. Like you said, it's Carolina. So you never gonna have kids that don't want to go on a damn official visit to Carolina. I mean, who don't want to lace up in the Jordan gear just for that alone? But right. I think he's gonna hit that portal. Like I think he's gonna say, okay, now instead of giving me one dude, give me 2 dudes every year out there portal I can inject in the starting lineup or inject into my rotation to inject life into my program. And I think if you're a new coach, I think that's the way to do it. You're talking about new coaches that are coming into the game and trying to establish recruiting connections. I think that's the way to do it. Unless you got, long tenure like Jay Wright, you got a system where you can take guys and plug them in. You know what I mean? You just don't have the time, and you don't get the luxury as a black coach to finish the duration of your contract to establish your culture. It's a double standard with us. We got to hit the ground running. It's like, okay, we hired you, Nate, because you were this guy that did this at university, so we expect you to get us, 40 wins in the first 2 years. It's like, well, Nate, you just walk. I'm your assistant coach. Like, Nate, you just walked to a shit show. So I don't think me going out and recruiting 8, 9 high school guys is the way for us. I go recruit 3 or 4. We need 3 or 4 real dogs about that portal. You know what I mean? That have played 30, 40, 50 games somewhere else at this level. Because, if we try to just, get 5 stars and high school kids on our roster, Nate, by the time they develop, by the time they mature up here to match the potential that they have, they could be cutting us loose off this contract. You know what I mean? So I think the portal is the way to go for new coaches while they're trying to establish the pipeline and the connections anyway.
So you like Kansas and you like Carolina?
I hate saying I like Kansas. I'm picking Kansas to win the game based on Villanova's lack thereof of roster.
I'm gonna go Duke and I'm gonna go Kansas.
Cool.
Go Duke and Kansas. Speaking of the tournament, like you said, I believe Banchero has played his way back into the top draft prospect.
Yeah.
Chet, I think it was his to lose, and I think he probably lost it. I think it was also Jabari's to lose.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of lost it. Who else did you see besides Banchero who kind of improved their draft stock, as far as March?
I've always said this, man. I don't think it matters what number you go, it matters where you go. And if you go into the wrong situation, you could have all talent in the world. It's not gonna mean anything. So I think there's some guys that put themselves in a situation where they might get into the wrong situation. Let me give you a couple examples. With some of the teams that were blue bloods that lost so early, I think people may be fooled by Jaden Ivey. I mean, you watch him in the St. Peter's game, he was not good at all. He was, like 2 of 11. I mean, he was not good at all in that game, right? And he had all this hype coming out of the Big Ten tournament, the first 2 rounds, and he got to that St. Peter's game, man, he was freaking awful. And I think that people want to say, well, he was on the U19 team, and he's 6'4", and he's athletic, and he's explosive, blah, blah, blah. So, like, they did I think, you know what I mean? Like, they want to pigeonhole him to something. But I just think that if he goes too high to the wrong team, they're going to find out, A, he doesn't shoot it well, and B, he's really just a straight line downhill guy. Like, there's not a lot of wiggle to his game as far as out of the PNR, and then he doesn't shoot it enough to make you honest. So he's just going to go underneath every screen. And so I think he could get into a situation where he goes higher than he should. And I hate to say it, but I think Keegan Murray might get into a tough situation. I thought for Keegan, it was important for him to go later to an established team, right? You go later, that means a team winning games. You know what I mean? They got a culture. Like when I look at Keegan, I want to see him on like the Spurs, the Pacers. You know what I mean?
You
The
know,
Mavericks.
the
Because
Spurs are going
those
to have an
teams
early
know
pick.
what they're doing. Those teams know what they're doing with young guys.
What you see, what's crazy is both of those teams are going to have top 10 picks this year.
Well, I hope he doesn't go too high though. Like I'm saying, the way he played, man, up until the game that they lost. I mean, he was on the lips of people all across the country. There's a reason he's one of the finalists for the Naismith Award, and he'll be out, at that awards ceremony. And so I just think that he could go into the top 5. And now you talk about going to potential teams like Detroit, Sacramento. Hey, you know how I feel about Sacramento. Well, I mean, there's nothing more than a career killer than going to Sacramento.
Right.
I also saw today that he took for as high as he's going to the draft, he took a very ununique step. And I don't know if we should applaud him on this or not, but he actually didn't sign to a high major agency. He signed to like a mid-major level. I thought for sure he would be Mark Botterstein, CAA, Rich Paul Clinton. No, he signed to I forgot the name of it, like Pro Lightning or something like that. Let me look that up real quick. But it was basically their biggest client is Kyle Lowry on that agency, and so I was very shocked by that. Very shocked by that. They also have Kevin Herter of Atlanta, and they kind of got those type of players. You know, I mean, those rotational guys. Other than, like I said, Lowry, that's kind of what they have. So I was kind of shocked by that. I don't know if they're trying to build their stuff around him or what. But I definitely think he's a kid that needs to go a little later so he can play a little longer. I think if he goes into a situation where the culture is bad, like a Portland, you know what I mean? You don't know what you're going to do with the coaching staff there. I would assume that Billups is probably on his way out the door, sooner than later here. It's just like, young guys, man, getting new coaches while they're trying to find their way, that tends to hamper their development, and so I would say he's a guy that. So I'm looking at it from more my perspective for kids because of St. Peter's playing longer than some other people, right? Like you're going to draft those Kentucky kids, but your last image of them is not being able to close out St. Peter. So where do you take a Ty Washington? You see what I'm saying? Like is he really a franchise point guard, or is he no more than a Brandon Knight, who how I feel about him? And I think that's what Ty is closer to being, is a Brandon Knight than he is a franchise point guard.
I know one guy that you had liked that I thought showed in the game that he had, and he showed a lot in the game that he had, was the cat from San Francisco.
Yes. Jamari Bouye.
Yeah. He was impressive in that first game against who was that they played? Was it I can't remember. I thought maybe it was an SEC team. I can't remember, but he showed his ass, and I think he was already on the lips of some people in about the first round, and I think he might have did something where I can see him going working out. He could be like how Bones Highland was last year, where he didn't work out, and then you saw Bones Highland in that mid first round. I obviously think old boy from Kansas, was it
Abaji?
Abaji. I mean, obviously he's been great all year, but he's just played really well. I think he'll solidify himself as a first rounder. Like I said, obviously Banchero, all the Duke guys have played well. But like I said, I really think now that you might see some guys, I think, it's been a consensus that the top 4 was Chet, Jabari, Banchero, and Ivy. And now I'm starting to wonder, is somebody gonna sneak their way
in there
in between those 4 in that top 5? It's just now it's a matter of finding out who it is. Is it Keegan? Is it Dawkins from Wisconsin? Is it
Davis?
Right. I said Dawkins. That's Davis. But is it any one of those guys that can slide in there and get into that top 5? So Mathurin, I know a lot of people are high on him like that. So a lot of stock sliding up and down as far as the tournament is concerned. You mentioned black coaches earlier. Shaheen Holloway, he did got that Seton Hall job. How do you feel he'll do at that school?
I don't think we need to question that, man. You take St. Peter's with their limited budget, limited resources in the hood of Jersey City, and you beat those power schools. I mean, Murray State had won like 28 games straight. Like that might be the most impressive win to me, just because you had a team that hadn't lost, you know what I mean, since early December. You know what I mean? So it's like, out of all the people they beat, that one might be the most impressive, because you're trying to sit there and scout, prepare in a hotel room, by the way, because they're after the Kentucky game, so you got literally 36 hours to prepare. And you're like, well, dude, they ain't lost a game since December. How we beat these dudes? And they came out and did it. So I don't question Shaheen at all. Shaheen was always one of my favorite point guards. He was on the smaller side like myself, so I got a number of respect to Shaheen. And I wish him well in his journey. And Seton Hall, it lined up perfect. Willard slid over to Maryland, and Willard on his way out endorsed and said, I'd be really happy if Shaheen was the next coach here, which the Seton Hall people knew what to do, and they did it. So I got nothing but praise, and I think he'll be just fine, man. He's got a bigger bag to recruit from. He's at a major university now. He going X's and O's. He got it. He knows what he's recruiting to. He knows how to relate to today's kid. He'll be all right, man. If my kids play ball and he was calling, that's where you're going. Done deal.
I like that. I did see my man Bobby Huggins today. Will be inducted into
the
Hall of Fame, so that was cool to see. I also saw Tim Hardaway.
Yes, he's getting in there finally.
We'll get in there, Chicago finally. So that was also dope to see. So we'll go in the NBA with that. NBA is hot right now. The East, I want to say the top 6 teams are all separated by 4 games, 4.5 games or less, I want to say. And last night, Boston and Miami played, and Miami came away with that win, which put them back in first place in the East. Boston, I think, now fell to 3rd in the East, and Milwaukee's at 2nd, followed by Philly at 4, Chicago at 5, Toronto at 6. Cleveland has now fell to the play-in at 7, and Brooklyn is at 8. So, with that being said, when I say there's about 6 games left, how do you see the East shaping out? Who gets the top seed? Who gets those bottom 2 seeds? How do you see it going?
I don't think it matters. I mean, we know the people are going to be in the playoffs. Now, we might not know their number, but we know we're going to see the Heat. We're going to see the Celtics. We're going to see the Sixers. We're going to see the Nets. And that's who we want to see, right? Let's be real. Those are the teams we want to see. That's who we want to see, big dog. The Bucks, you know what I mean? That's who we want to see.
To be fair, we don't know that we're going to see the Bucks. We don't know that we're going to see.
Man, that's crazy to me. Y'all see they cleared the way for my boy Kyrie to come back to the home games. You see how much ass he been busting on the road. He gonna get the job done, bro. They gonna win the games they gotta win.
Now, you know what's crazy that I saw is that, because right now it's Philly and Boston that could potentially end up playing Toronto. And neither team will specify or will say whether or not they have if they're all vaccinated.
Right, I saw that. They want to keep it hush hush. Hush hush. This is an NBA we're talking about. So vaccinated or not, Silver will get to the bottom line behind closed doors. Me and you and the general public might not know, but there will be a series against whoever Boston has to play. Whether those people are vaccinated at the time or get vaccinated before, this is the NBA. The NBA was not going to let their money be stopped by vax shit, regardless of what Toronto's rules are. So if they got to pump a shot into these players a week before, guess what? We're pumping a shot until you get your ass on a plane. It is what it is. They're not going to let, they're going to say, okay, Toronto, you can't play your matchup because they're not vaccinated. So we're going to read. Come on, this is the NBA we're talking about. This is Adam Silver, very smart, competent, CEO of a $1 billion business. He'll figure out how to get it done to make it happen.
So I'm gathering you like Brooklyn in the East then.
I don't know if I'd like them to win it, but I'm a big Kyrie fan, if I always have been. And I'm a big Kyrie fan as a man, as a father, as a person, because what he did and taking his stance and standing on what he believed in is very admirable. Because you have people like Stephen A. trying to throw him to the wolves and everybody else, and Charles Barkley and Shaq, and he could have folded. But this is the same guy who bought Greg Floyd's daughter and wife a house out of his own pocket and had it built from scratch. He had no ties in Minnesota at all, but he did that because he didn't want that little girl to have to worry about having a nice, safe home over her head. And so I really fuck with Kyrie as a person, man. Like obviously he's an amazing basketball player, but what I'm saying is I fuck with Kyrie on some other shit because he's standing up for what is right. And you should stand for yourself, even if you're standing all alone. If other people had enough conviction to do that in their thought process, we might actually get somewhere and create real change in life. Because you know what? Guess what? Who caved? Kyrie or the NBA or the city of New York? We know the two. It was the latter of the two. It wasn't Kyrie. Kyrie came back as a part-time player. Harden didn't like it. Bye-bye. Right? So the Nets had to cave. And then the NBA saw Kyrie cooking up on the road and say, you know what? That dude's a moneymaker. We need that revenue. So New York City, get your shit together, lift them vax mandates. So Kyrie created real change.
Because, as it is right now, just right now, they would be a 7 or 8 seed, which means they would see.
They're going to see somebody good.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But that's okay. They're not afraid of that. They're not afraid of that.
I'm not saying they're afraid, but it's just like, I guess if you get through that first round, then it probably
becomes easier
down the road.
Yeah.
You could get, Miami or, Milwaukee out the way. I'd like to see them in Milwaukee in that first round.
I would not like to see that, just because I still think Brooklyn got some kinks they got to work out. I'm not a Miami fan. I'm not a Butler fan, and that incident last week just left me the wrong way. So I would love to see the Heat and the Nets in the first round, and I would love to see Butler lose his cool again as Kyrie's hitting big shot after big shot down there in South Beach and sends them packing. And I actually think this, Nate. I actually think the teams at the top, your 1, your 2, your 3 seeds, are hoping that Brooklyn has some kind of crazy surge, or they just don't make it. Because I actually think it's I don't think Brooklyn fears anybody, but I think those top 3 teams fear having to play Brooklyn out the gates, because traditionally, when you're a 1 or 2 seed, you got the home court advantage in the opening round, you're playing the Pats. You're playing your lowly Pistons who are, just trying to get to the playoffs. You're playing you're playing somebody you can walk over. You got to play KD and Kyrie in a 7-game series. Good luck, bro.
Well, I don't think they'll get up to that top 6. I think they're gonna be stuck in that 7, 8.
They're gonna play in the playing game.
Yeah.
And they'll probably beat Charlotte or Atlanta in the playing game, and then get into a matchup of either the Celtics or the Heat. And we know how Kyrie feels about his time in Boston. You know what I mean? So, and I trust Kyrie more to deliver me. If he's got to go against Kyle Lowry will fold. So I mean, like I said, those are matchups where you could see, like the NCAA Tournament, you could see your potential 1 or 2 seed get upset in the first round in the East just because of how everything played out so long. And let's not forget that maybe Ben Simmons comes back, right? Maybe they win the playing game, and then all of a sudden Ben Simmons decides he's mentally ready to play against Miami or the Celtics, and now it's another player you got to put on this scout report who's a really damn good player when he's locked in. It's like, oh, this is our first round matchup. Oh shit, this you're talking about literally, if the Nets play the Celtics or the Heat in the first round, right? You're literally talking about Eastern Conference Finals basketball in round 1. That's how intense and important it is. Every possession matters. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just don't have a margin of error for either team. There's no margin of error. You got to be on your P's and Q's.
Yeah. To go out west, the Lakers, LeBron hurt his ankle. He sat out a couple games.
Coming back tomorrow.
AD, I saw they said he'll be back Friday. As it stands tonight, I want to say they're the 10th seed, but if they lose tonight, I think they go back down to 11th. If LeBron, considering this season how it was supposed to go, if they don't make the play-in playoffs, how you look at it, does it do anything to his legacy in your opinion?
No, I can't fault. As bad as Lakers have been, we have to remember these are grown men we're talking about. So you can't fault LeBron for the lack of health of Anthony Davis. You can't fault LeBron for the lack of production on a consistent basis out of Russell Westbrook. These are still grown dudes who make a lot of money. They need to be held accountable. You can't just, we live in a generation where you either love LeBron or you just want to tear down his legacy. And it's like, you can't do that because these are other grown professionals who are supposed to be the best in their sport that are getting paid millions also. Hold them dudes accountable. Yes, LeBron made a bad call by bringing Westbrook there, but at the same time, LeBron has zero control over what shots Westbrook takes, what his defense looks like, which is substandard at this
I
point.
tried to, and what's funny is I tried to tell you that.
The thing to me is you were right, but this is what I'm saying. And hear me out. I didn't think he would just go in James Harden. I don't give a fuck mode.
He's been that way.
He's standing there, legs locked, just looking at loose balls, like, oh yeah, hey, what's up? I'll meet you in the club tonight. It's ridiculous to me.
He hasn't been locked in on the defensive end in years like that. Like,
it's ridiculous to me.
The thing that I hate is like, obviously I feel how I feel about LeBron. Like I said, I don't believe he's the GOAT. And that decision, I think the main thing that comes with it is for that decision. The main reason he gets the shit that he gets is because of that. And it's like, a lot of people don't have the ability to give him his props. Like, there's no way, no matter what happens this year, does it affect his legacy. He has nothing else to prove in the league. The man's about to probably win a scoring title.
Right. You know the greatest thing about LeBron is, whether they make the playoffs this year, don't make it, lose in a playing game, this is year 4 with the Lakers. So you know what that means? His next team will have him back relevant again in 2 years, and it'll be a completely different feel, because that's what he does. He wears out the welcome after about 4 years, and then he moves on somewhere else, and then he reinvents his legacy, the hype, it all comes back to the surface again.
That has been his MO, 100%. But I think this year, what you have seen, which is something you haven't seen from him in the past, is his ability to shake off those injuries that he's been having. Like, I, for years, watched LeBron. He play the Bulls fucking 5-6 times a year. And LeBron might turn his ankle, he'd get up and he'd wince for a little bit, and he'd run right down the damn court and block somebody's damn shot and do some shit like that. Like, he doesn't have that ability now to shake the little nagging shit that a lot of guys in their prime do. And it catches up to him. And when it catches up to him, it leads to games lost or however, you know what I'm saying? Because, listen, I don't think there's nothing he can do to affect his
further cement himself. Yeah.
Yeah, to further cement. He can further cement himself, I believe, but there's nothing he can do to take it down. And I think a lot of people try to, and like I said, I was critical of the move. I said from the jump that wasn't the right move to make. I don't think he maybe made as much of a sacrifice to fit Russ in, because I told you from the get-go, one of them's got to have the ball. And you can't run Russ off the ball because he can't shoot. So I thought maybe if you were going to bring him in, he maybe should have been a little more willing to let Russ be Russ and he fall in line. But he's LeBron, and I understand him not falling in line to nobody. You know what I'm saying? He's LeBron. So I get that too. So when you brought him in, like I said, it just wasn't going to work. But to all them people saying that, his legacy is going to be tarnished because he didn't make, he couldn't make the play. Mike, his last couple years didn't make the playoffs in Washington. You know what I'm saying?
They looked horrible.
They were a bad team, you know what I'm saying? And,
right.
It was farewell tours, and motherfuckers was coming to watch, and he was still getting his. But at that point, Mike had did everything that Mike needed to do to solidify himself. And I think I say the same for LeBron. And the motherfucker's in year 19, and he's, by all means, probably about to win a scoring title.
Here's my thing with the whole Laker thing, not just for us, but everybody else. Like you said, LeBron can't shake off the injuries, which means what? More games for somebody else to do something because he's not playing. But here's the even bigger thing. If LeBron scored 35 or more in a game, he damn near can't play the next game.
Yeah.
So that's got to be on Russ and other guys, man. Like if me and you on a team, Nate, and you're the big dog, and I know you're out tonight with either injury or you're fatigued because you let us the other night, as a competitor, I'm like, cool, give me the rock. I'm finna, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But Russ isn't seizing the moment and opportunity, man. When LeBron's not out there, he's not seizing that moment.
I think he checked out.
That's on Russ, not on LeBron. Yeah, if I'm out of the lineup, my nigga, I ain't got to worry about sacrificing that because I ain't even playing. So do you. Right. Show us why you won the MVP. Show us that version of you. But Russ is not locked in to do that. And that is not on LeBron. It is not LeBron's job to be this dude's freaking therapist.
Right.
Talking about he getting booed and he don't want his kids to come to the game.
I feel you there.
This is pro sports, bro. You're going to get booed at this level when you're making millions of dollars to do something that me and you do on a regular basis for free. Even have to pay to do it to go to the Y, go to LA Fitness. He getting paid to do it. Shut the fuck up and just go be who you are. If the boos and the criticism is too much and you can't handle the media and you don't want your kids coming to games, then go walk around LA in your little dresses and skirts and go retire it. Because as long as it's going to be pro sports, there's going to be people who want to hold you accountable. Dude, you're making hundreds of millions of dollars. LeBron don't even be in a lineup some nights. And you're still out there. My 9-year-old son, Markel, shout out to Markel, I love you, barely watches NBA games because they're boring, obviously, at this age. The man sent me a text one day and said, Dad, why is Russell Westbrook married to the backboard? Now let's think about that. A 9-year-old lives in Canada that barely watches NBA games, going on TikTok, and all he can find of Russ is clank, 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 clank. Is that on LeBron? No, that's on Russ, man. Get your ass in the gym.
I get that. I think Russ checked out a while ago, where it was like, okay, he saw that he was the scapegoat, and he was like, this and that, and the third, and I think he checked out, and he wants out of there just as bad as they want him out of there, I think. But I also think the construction of that roster was just poor. You know what I'm saying? You got all these old guys that can't do much. Like, I remember when they signed Wayne Ellington, the mother was like, oh yeah, Wayne Ellington. I'm like, Wayne Ellington has been Wayne Ellington for a reason. Like, right. Wayne Ellington is not going to get to LA and become, something of Wayne Ellington that he's never been at 30, 4 years old, or however old Wayne Ellington is. You know what I'm saying? That, the only person that's managed to do that thus far has been like LeBron and fucking DeMar DeRozan. You know what I'm saying? Where as they've been older, you're seeing something that you haven't seen from them before. So as far as that, like I said, I think that's crazy that people would even suggest that his legacy is tarnished. That's just some hating ass shit to say.
They want to throw it on him because he advocated for Westbrook there. But once again, it goes back to my same thing. Me and you've been boys for over 15 years, Nate. You know what I'm saying? If I advocate to get you on the roster and you come over here and you married to the backboard, as my son says, how is that on me? I got you in the building, Nate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take some personal accountability.
Yes, he definitely does. I agree with you to an extent, but when I'm also, like I said, when you're playing him off the ball, and now you're trying to make this nigga who can't shoot a shooter, that's the result you're gonna fucking get is shots off the backboard because the nigga can't shoot. Like, I said that from me. It's like, if to me it was like, okay, LeBron is LeBron. He's the best passer maybe ever in basketball. I get it. I know that's what you do. But like, if you were gonna advocate, like you said, okay, if I'm gonna advocate for you, and I know what your weaknesses are, and I know what my strengths are, right. And I know I'm far more capable of playing off the ball than you are. Right. I'm not gonna take a lion's share of the ball handling duties and playmaking duties. I'm gonna leave that to you because I think that's gonna give us a better chance to succeed because that's more to your liking as far as your game, and it can help us because I don't want you shooting 7-8 threes a game when I know you might make one. Motherfuckers don't even pay attention to Westbrook when he's out there on the 3-point line.
Well, the crowd is screaming, "Don't shoot it! No, 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 no,
you know what I'm saying? So it's like you have a guy like that where that's their defensive strategy is to let you fucking shoot and then just crowd the paint when you get in the paint. I can't play you off the ball. So I thought, now granted, I haven't watched a whole lot of Laker games, and maybe Russ handles the ball more than I'm giving him credit to have handled the ball. But just from a basketball standpoint, from watching and knowing both their games, I said from a standpoint, like going to have to let Westbrook be Westbrook, and LeBron is going to have to be off the ball in order for that to work. And
so just to clarify, there was a stretch, probably mid-December, early January, where he was playing on the ball. But he was turning it over 8-9 times a game. And Vogel just lost complete confidence. And all of a sudden, he didn't become the best chance to win because when the ball was in his hand so much, it resulted in such a low output of production that they had to kind of, like, you run over there and you look for loose, basically look for fast break opportunities that come off the rim that you can get it and outrun everybody. But if we're in a half court, just kind of passing and cutting, get out the way because he was just, his up here, man, his decision making up here was so bad the month of December and January that Vogel was just like, you saw where Vogel benched him, and Vogel's like, I'm trying to like not embarrass him, but I'm trying to like kind of give him a shake and wake him up. You know what I mean? But he just, like you said, he went into complete shutdown mode. And maybe he knew that behind the scenes, LeBron was trying to angle for John Wall. I don't know. And he just never could get out of it, you know? And then that goes back to my point with Ben Simmons too, and these guys like, dude, you're playing a game of basketball, something that millions of young kids, old people love to play, and they're willing to pay dollars, gym memberships to play it. Like, represent the game the right way, man. Like, give it all you got. Don't quit. Don't tank. Don't. I think Ed Cooley said it best 2 years ago. Nothing matters more than winning. Your feelings don't matter more than winning this game that we're locked into. So put your feelings aside and let's do what we got to do to win. And I just wish more of these guys would do that because, man, you're getting so much money to play a game that we all have grown to love and know. Like, just represent it the right way. And all you can do is give everything you got. And I just feel like I'm tired of watching pro guys go out there and you know, my feelings this and the fans this. And it's like, bro, like that's lame to me. Like, we're from urban areas. Y'all been through way tougher shit than this. There ain't no way you haven't been. You ain't been born with no silver spoon in your mouth.
Right. The more and more I see them play, the more and more I don't think anybody's going to beat them out west, and that's Phoenix. I don't see nobody beating Phoenix in a 7-game series. I really don't.
I'll
Golden
take
State don't look like
State.
they have it like that to me. Like, Curry is hurt. Clay is not himself. Draymond is hurt. They got a bunch of young guys. Wiseman is not going to play. It's just like, where earlier in the season I was like, yeah, if they're healthy, there's nothing stopping them when they're not healthy.
Right.
And I mean, Phoenix has just kept rolling without Chris Paul. And just the more I see him play, man, I don't see a team in the West that I think can beat them in a 7-game series. I don't see it.
I'm still going to hold to a healthy Golden State. Yes, Steph is hurt, but the whole plan from the time he went down was to bring him back for the playoffs. The plan was never to bring him back for these meaningless 12, 13 games at the time they had. I'm still going to ride with Kurt. He's been there. He's done it. So is Steph. So is Draymond. So is Clay. And Jordan Poole has done an admirable job of filling in for whether it's Curry or Clay, whenever, you know, over the last 2 years, that I still think that when they slide him into that Sean Livingston role, when you have a healthy Clay and Steph, I just don't trust Phoenix, man. I don't trust Phoenix. I don't trust Chris Paul. I don't trust Monty Williams. I don't trust DeAndre Ayton. I just think that when you play that style of basketball, if someone can run and gun you, they're gonna, like, that's an old brand of basketball trying to pick and run. Nah. It's all about that 3 ball now. And when you got Steph and Clay out there, I don't care if they 50% or 100%. If they out there, any shot can go in with them dudes. I mean, we're talking about, you know, 2 of the arguably the greatest shooters of all time. You know, and so I'm gonna ride with the healthy gold. I'm gonna say healthy. If they're out there, I'm riding with Golden State. Period. Draymond will turn it on when it's time to turn it on. He's the ultimate professional.
Okay. Season awards. Let's go through them for the NBA. Like I said, we got 6 games left. At this time, I think you can come to a pretty clear
conclusion
decision on who you like. So let's start with Rookie of the Year. Who do you like for Rookie of the Year?
You know, last year I like how they set the precedence for Rookie of the Year. They gave it to Melo over Edwards because he was winning. You know what I mean? His team was going to touch the playoffs. He knows the plan. Edwards had a better number. So let's do the same thing. Just on that alone, we'll give it to Mobley. Okay. Just on the winning aspect. But let's be clear, there's no rookie more important to their team than Cade Cunningham. Because OKC could win without Giddey because they got Shaq. You know what I mean? Cleveland could win without Mobley because they got 2 freaking all-stars. You know what I mean? But Detroit ain't even competitive without Cade. It's not even close.
Can you make an argument for Scotty Barnes, given that they now have a better record than Cleveland, and Scotty Barnes has essentially the same numbers as
he does
as Mobley?
I wouldn't be mad if Scotty won. But let's be real, the NBA shits on Toronto because they're in another country, so they always kind of get the last end of the stick. You know what I mean? So I would not be mad if Scotty won. I've always loved Scotty's game. He's a bigger, more versatile version of Draymond. So I would not, you know, I wouldn't be mad if he won it, but I just feel like the NBA wants to give something to Cleveland because of how LeBron has come and gone so much. Yeah. And anytime Cleveland has any type of success, they really dig in and ride that wave hard. Yeah. So I think it's Mobley's to lose.
I agree with that. I'll go Mobley too. 6 man. Who you like for six man?
You have to give me your six, man. Because to be honest with you, I don't.
You don't. Okay.
This is tough.
I thought about it, and I think I'm gonna go with Kelly Oubre.
That's a good one. That's a good
Charlotte.
one.
He starts here and there, but essentially he was coming off the bench, and he's been hooping his ass off. Signed a 1-year deal. I think he played well enough this year where he's gonna get a multi-year deal.
Right.
It's funny because he went to Charlotte, and the guy that left Charlotte too was another guy on my list with Monk,
right.
who left Charlotte, who's played really well. Excuse me, off the bench.
I don't think the Lakers would be getting any awards other than LeBron. I don't think that'd be the only Lakers getting any type of awards.
So yeah, I think I would probably say Kelly Oubre would be my sixth man of the year.
I would just to play devil's advocate, I always get them confused. It's either Herter or Bogdanovich. One of them comes off the bench for the Hawks, and I would say whoever it is, I would say could rival Kelly because those two teams are kind of on the same path as far as record-wise, where they could be in a plan together or against each other or something. So I would say just look out for I can't remember which one comes off the bench, but one of them comes off the bench and he's pretty. I think it's Bogdanovich. Yeah, I would say put him on that list too.
Okay. Most improved. Who do you like?
Darius Garland.
Darius Garland.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I wanted to go with your boy and my boy 2 Miles.
Bridges, baby.
I want to go.
Shout out Michigan State.
I wanted to go with
the rapper.
I wanted to go with Miles, but I don't think you could argue with anybody but Darius Garland.
Yeah, after what he went through coming to the league, how he came in with the question marks around his health and everything, just getting better and better every single year.
Yeah, that's not a bad one. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that would. Could you argue DeMar?
DeRozan?
Yeah.
No. Every time the Bulls play a playoff team, they show me who they are, and so just on that alone, I just cringe.
Well, every time DeMar does, or the Bulls?
Every time the Bulls play a playoff team,
you told me.
I was high on the Bulls, but every time, but that stretch, they weren't playing playoff teams. When they play a playoff team, for some reason, they just are a whole different version of themselves. I'm like, what is going on?
Playoff teams, they're just the top 3 seed.
What is going on here? Like, I want to, you know what I mean? Like,
to speak on that, because I am a Bulls fan, my problem is this. You continue to play this small ball shit, and I can't blame Billy because you don't have nobody else to play. You got a bunch of small motherfuckers on the team, so you essentially have to play small ball. I don't think the team, the front office, as good as a job as they've done the 2 years they've been there. I hate to criticize them, but they didn't give him enough size, and you're trying to play Patrick Williams at power forward. He's not a power forward. Like, you just don't have enough size. You don't rebound the ball. And the injuries really fuck with them. The injuries really fuck with them bad. Because I tell you what, if Caruso and Lonzo had never got hurt to the extent that they did this year, both of them might be first team all defense. You might have saw a backcourt both of them be first team all defense. And they were that important at the time to just how the rest of that team played as far as defensively. And then when Caruso went out, they fell a notch, and then, Lonzo went out, and Ayo came in and has played great, has played really, really well, and played well defensively, but he's not a seasoned defender like Lonzo and Caruso. Right. So, like I said, I'm happy with what they have done as far as the improvement they made this year. But when it comes,
is Lonzo coming back for the playoffs?
Huh?
Will Lonzo be back for the playoffs?
I don't know.
What is his injury, by the way? Is it a knee? Is it an ankle?
Yeah,
what is
it was a meniscus.
Meniscus, gotcha.
I'm thinking it was a meniscus, and he had to have surgery. So, they had sat him down. He was recovering, and then they sat him down for 10 days. And 10 days is coming up, so we'll get another update on him. But I doubt he comes back and plays. So, speaking of defense, listen, I had who would you have for your defensive player of the year?
That's a tough one. Whew. How do you not give it to Giannis?
Giannis is a good choice. I'd probably go Gobert again. Like Gobert again.
Gobert is
he's that good defensively where, the rebounds and the block shots and changing the whole dynamic like that. But Giannis is another. It'll be one of those two again, I believe, too, as well. Coach of the year. This is an interesting one because I think you got a number of coaches who you could give that award to. Who would you give it to?
I don't know how to say his name, but Emeka Udoka, the Celtics. I might give it to him. They did a major turnaround. I might give it to him.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Or I'm sorry. No, that's not true. I take that back. You'd have to give it to Bickerstaff and Cleveland. You'd have to give it to Bickerstaff and Cleveland. I think you'd have to.
Yeah. That's not a bad choice. What about Buddy in Memphis?
Yeah. I think that when you have the team they have and have Ja, though, there's like a certain expectation of, you know what I mean? Like
they're going from
supposed to
from the 8th seed to the 2nd seed now.
I agree. I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't be mad. Because
you got a lot of guys. You got him. You got, like you said, Bickerstaff. Howard Hill, the guy, coach of Minnesota. That team,
really,
man. Okay, they picked number 1 last year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They had the number 1 pick last year. You come in now this year, you know what I'm saying? They're a top 6, 7 seed in the West. 10, like 8, 9, 10 games over 5.
What is Cleveland 3? Is Cleveland 3?
Cleveland
in the East?
No, Cleveland has dropped to 7th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Cleveland has dropped to 7th. But
okay.
Yeah, Minnesota, I mean, but I like you said, with the whole Cleveland thing, I can see Bickerstaff getting it, but I can also see that the cat in
Memphis. Yeah, because John's been out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a side note. If he's having these issues in the playoffs, can they still win a playoff series without him? If let's say he's a part-time player, let's say he's plays a couple, has to sit because he's hurt. Can they close out a series? And that's what I want to know, right? Because regular season basketball is all fun and cool, but the playoffs is a different animal, right? It's different. So can they win with him being in and out the lineup? Can they win a series? What do you think?
They've shown that they can win, like you said, but I think it depends on who they get. If they get somebody like Minnesota, you know what I'm saying, then yes. But if you you fuck around and get Denver or who else is in that? I think
can they beat the Clippers without him now that Paul George is back?
That would be the other team. I think they could get the Clippers.
Really? Without John? With Paul PG back?
They still been good, but I don't know. Bulls got the Clippers tonight, so we'll see. They go out. We'll see, but
all right.
I think it depends on who they get. I think it depends on who they get. They're playing really, really well, and they all play together. So that's what I do like about that team. Your MVP would be who?
I still got to ride with Embiid. I still got to ride with the Nigerian Nightmare.
Embiid.
I haven't deterred from that. Everything he went through the season, not knowing if or when this guy Ben was going to play, going to leave, he just went out there and produced night in and night out. I have to give it to Embiid.
I'll give it to Embiid too. I'll ride with Embiid. All right. In the episode, like we always do, you're betting your picks. What you got for us tonight?
Yeah, you can check us out tonight at chalkandchurn.com. Tonight, I like Detroit at home, plus 10.5 against those 76ers. Like I said, no rookie is more important to a team than Cade Cunningham. They play well at home. He's playing well. He's really found his groove. He had a career high the other night, 34 against the Nets. They came up short and lost, but he really caught fire and really was giving those guys issues. And so I like Detroit at home tonight, plus 10.5. I also like the Utah Jazz against the Lakers, first half, -8. I think that at home, they'll no LeBron, no AD. They'll stretch it out on the Lakers. And I think Lakers should come back and make it closer down the second half. But I think first half tonight, Utah Jazz -8. First half.
All right. Well, that does it for another episode of the Real Spill Sports Podcast. Appreciate you tuning in. You check us out on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on all the major platforms, streaming platforms. We get to it, like I said, Instagram, TikTok, all that coming soon. We also going to have more guests for you coming in the future. We got some NFL guys coming, some other guys, you know what I'm saying, some coaches. Hopefully, we got a lot in store for you. So keep rocking with us, and we're going to keep trying to do our best to put out good content for you. So appreciate you coming through.
Peace.